We have Dawn Light and Trish Wright from the Self Love Show, as well as Raj and Gabby Sundra from For Better Love. So I would love to take a moment and have each of them introduce themselves further. Dawn, would you like to start? Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do in the world.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Nice to be here. My name is Dawn Lightamora, and I am co-host of the Self Love Show with my beloved partner over here, Trish Wright. And we host the Self Love Show weekly, Thursday mornings at 10 a.m. live on Facebook, and we stream to YouTube. And we have a YouTube channel and an Instagram channel. And we both are self-love coaches. And, I have a business called Spark Your Inner Gold. So it's really helping women really unearth the trauma, heal the core places that the wounding has been, and unlock the inner gold, unlock your gifts, unlock your purpose so you can step further into owning your value, owning your worth, and really living into your full authentic self-expression in life. And so on the Self Love Show, we always share really valuable tools, tips, and resources to really learn how to self-source, so that you're having a deeper relationship with Source, God, Creator, Spirit inside, so that you live a full expression, full embodied, happy life, right? Where you can always feel like I have the answers within. And they're not having to source outside for anything any longer. And that's where pain and suffering arise for people, is when the ego gets attached thinking it's outside, and really it's inside, and how we relate to the issue is the issue. And so I've had the blessed pleasure of being able to attend graduate studies at University of Santa Monica for spiritual psychology. So a lot of my work has to do with spiritual psychology coaching. So it's really deep, in the heart of the root of the patterns is really like the desire for my coaching specifically to be able to help someone unlock what is going on for them and move out of their life path the giant boulders that have been there, which is our spiritual curriculum, the things we've come here to learn, our life lessons in earth school.
Yep.
Right. And so my life lessons in earth school really were about trust for me, because I was raised in an environment that was very triggering, very terrifying as a child, because I was dealing with child abuse. So I had to work through a lot of issues in my life. And ultimately, that's what led me to this path of being able to help others, because I've broken through and broken free of that kind of suffering. And ultimately now, later in my life, I've been married now for 18 years. And that was a deep cultivation of, because I didn't want to grow up and be the same as my family unit. Even though that was my family dynamic, I didn't have to keep choosing that. And so I always knew in my mind and my heart that I could have the life of my dreams, but I had to really do personal inner work to get there. And I'm so blessed to say that I have that ability, and I've manifested that in my life. And I have a 18-year marriage and a 10-year-old boy. And, Anastar and I have been friends for many, many, like 20 years probably, or close to it right now.
Yeah.
Like, I think as long as I've been with my husband. So 18 years we've been friends.
Wow.
So it's, yeah, right. It's incredible. So I'm so grateful to be here. So thank you.
So grateful. Yes. And Trish, the other half of the Self Love Show, darling.
Yay! I love you, Dawn. Thank you so much, Anastar, for really bringing us in. And I'm super excited to hear more from Gabby and Raj. So I am, yes, as of course, I'm a self-love coach. I'm also a trauma-informed codependency coach, and just recently a certified sex coach with Sex Coach University. Woo! I'm really excited about that. It was 3 years of my life and my brain over love and intimacy and sexuality. So I'm so grateful to be here to really help people and move through what's blocking them from the intimacy and the vulnerability and the connection that they want. Sovereignty is my game in this world, and really helping people step into their, am I allowed to curse on this?
Prefer if you don't, but it's up to you.
Yes, I help people step into their FES
Yes,
in their life, and really take on their a more empowered perspective, but also really just kind of take a big look at the things that are painful still, and keep walking forward with them. most of my clients are male-bodied at this moment, and some of them are female-bodied, working through their childhood wounding, and we do it together. My lineage is from Gestalt, holotropic breathwork, nonviolent communication, humanistic behaviorism. So I have a particular swing on the way that I move through the world, and I really truly believe that Dawn and myself, like, the way that we work together is so powerful. In our work in the show and in our work with our clients, like, oh, I'm so grateful to be in this life and working like together, woven.
True.
Yeah.
So grateful.
Yes, weaving together. I look forward to seeing what you two bring forward today. And Gabby and Raj, I do have to say, Gabby Sundra is my husband's and my personal relationship coach. And we've worked with Gabby almost every week for the last year, a little over a year now. And she is just so wonderful and powerful. And I've heard so many stories of Raj. And even though he and I have talked very little, I know a lot about you, brother. And I love you. So, Gabby and Raj, tell us a little bit more about yourselves.
Oh, Anastara, thanks so much for being here. And I love the match here of the self-love and then the love in relationship. Ladies, it's really nice to meet you, Trish and Dawn, and everybody who's here as well. You're here, and you know, Trish, you talked about a FYES life. With my clients, I actually have a tool. We talk about the F yeah, right? The F yeah. I'm actually about to turn 50, and that's the theme of that my birthday is going to be 50. F yeah, right?
Yes, I love this. Woo!
Making that happen. My mission came out of my love with my husband here, and that we had such a messy relationship when we met. The intuition was so strong. It felt like just getting into a warm bath. My toes uncurled, but my mind would say, you got to be effing kidding me. Like, seriously, this is what we're choosing and we're going down this path. We had a lot of work to do, but we did it. And people started asking, well, what the hell did you guys do? So eventually we ended up sharing what we've learned in relationship, and the essence of the mission that I hold, Raj as well, but he has another focus that he'll tell you about later. But my main focus is aiming for awesome. So much of the relationship work is work out there because you're fixing problems, and that usually turns to blame, and blame turns to defending, and the kind of camera aperture of openness and transformation closes. So we work at creating a vision for couples and individuals, families, companies, but having something that's clear and inspiring, so that then you can move forward and aim for that instead of being pulled apart by the blame, be brought together by the aiming for awesome. We're all about accountability, but bringing play to accountability. Should we share as I transition to you, should we share our purpose that we created this last year?
Sure.
Our lives in love. Remember that?
I'm trying to see if I can do it offhand. Yes,
all right, I got it. Our lives in love lift us and others up through play and accountability.
Yes.
Yes.
Gorgeous.
And that's who we are, for better love.
Wonderful.
Not for worse. You guys are all up for that F yeah life. So let's have the F yeah relationship.
F yeah. Raj, would you like to expand, dear?
Sure. So good to see you all. Thank you for inviting me into this fold. Yeah. Good to see you, Anastara, and good to meet you, Trish and Dawn. Yes, and welcome everybody. Let's see where to start. Well, I have I'm half Indian, so Raj, it's not a hippie name.
Great, but it actually is his name.
It's actually true. I can do a little bit of the head wobble. It's
funny, it comes out naturally sometimes.
I have a background in mechanical engineering. I went to Cornell and did my master's there, and then I ended up doing co-founded this company, Spec Products. You may have seen these little faces out on the street somewhere. If you get it. But
then he met me and walked away.
Then I met Gabby, and did a lot of personal development work while I was actually working with that company, and just really learned the power of transformation, which I had not had exposure to before. And I kept hitting these kind of limits on what I had wanted to do in the different areas of my life, from sports to business to relationship. And I just got very inspired to bring that work to people through the workplace. And so I have a business consultancy called Transformance, which is a combination of transformation and performance.
Yeah.
So I help companies in the $5 to $10 million range scale into the $30 to $100 million range by doing these 90-day games where we combine business practices with transformative practices.
And so I do the 90-day games with the couples, and he does the companies, but they're very similar. And we bring business practices to relationship with a lot of play, and relationship practices to business. But again, this is for all relationships, not just romantic relationships.
Yeah, totally. And one of my passion projects right now is to have a focus on the people part, independent of the business scaling part, with businesses through a program called Unleash You University. And we do personal games with people where we help them get clear on what it is that they want, just like Gabby does with relationship. And I also do with business. And we use that as a transformative container for people. Like, what gets in the way of you having what you want? And learn how to transform yourself and give yourself access again to the dream life that you really desire.
That F yes, F yeah life.
So F yeah everywhere.
Wonderful. F yeah.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
We need to talk after the show.
Wonderful. Well, we're going to get started here with just a little bit of grounding and just taking a moment to just drop in together energetically. So if you can, go ahead and make yourself comfortable. Take some deep breaths. Close your eyes if you're even able to. And let's just drop in for a moment together. Place your hand on your heart. And taking a deep breath in through the nose and out the mouth. Feeling your chest expand as you breathe in and contract as you exhale. You breathe in love vibrations. And exhale any fear. Breathe in harmony. As you exhale any dissonance. Breathe in light. As we exhale any of the deep darkness within. And as you stay with that breath, imagine a white ball of light in the center of your chest, feeling the warmth inside your heart. There is your physical heart, and there is the spirit-centered heart. You fill them both with light right now. Feel that light expand within your body. Feeling the warmth expand out into your shoulders and your throat, and down into your belly and your hips. Expanding even further and up into your head, and down through your legs. Expanding even further, the light piercing through your crown chakra to about 3 feet above your head, and down into the earth through your feet, about 3 feet into Mama Gaia. Feeling this expansion beyond the physical body. This white, iridescent mother of pearl light and warmth. Imagine inside of it an upright, three-sided pyramid, with the tip of it 3 feet above the head and the base of it 3 feet into Mother Gaia. Now imagine an inverted tetrahedron with the base of it 3 feet above your head and the tip of it 3 feet into Mama Gaia. Now imagine one of the pyramids spinning clockwise and the other spinning counterclockwise. They spin so smoothly and synchronistically. The upright pyramid is balancing your masculine energy, inviting it to breathe into awareness and surrendering and releasing all the things that need to be done and need to be done in the future and letting it go now. The upside down triangle representing the feminine aspect. Spinning synergistically. Breathe into the feminine aspect, embodying loving, nurturing, motherly self-care and care for others. And as both of them spin, creating this golden light Merkaba, completely surrounding every cell, molecule, atom, creating this toroidal energy field, this divine matrix around your body. You can expand it even further if you choose. You can merge with the person sitting beside you. You can fill the room that you're sitting in. Knowing that your light is here to shine bright. That we can come into the heart center at any moment in time during the day and find this inner peace, this inner truth, this inner love, compassion, acceptance. We can share that light with others. We are all spiritual beings having a human experience. We are here to learn the lessons of love. May love guide us on our path in all ways, for always. And start drawing that light back in towards your body, towards your center, sipping it into your heart. Breathing it in, ingesting it in. Let that light rain down upon you like a powerful waterfall. The negative ions just diffusing any other stagnant energy in your field. Feel that ball of light come down into a singularity inside your heart once more. Here we are on this new moon today in the sign of Aquarius. It marks the beginning of a new cycle. Friendship, brotherhood, group activities, social pursuits, group projects, trying something new, humanitarian efforts, or joining some kind of group will be a strong focus this week and today. New beginnings regarding any and all of these matters are possible now. This is a time during which we should solve problems that require thinking outside of the box. Look to the future with a brand new positive and hopeful vision. Brainstorm and socialize. Focus on extending a friendly hand, receiving support, and expressing platonic love for those around you. Giving our emotions and passions a break, we can develop more objectivity and some detachment from past haunts. Learning how something or someone works, revitalizing ourselves through experiences that are new or simply different. Reach out to the people in your social circle and in your community and recognize the value of your friendships and your social networks. Recognizing that some level of detachment and distancing ourselves from bad and old habits in the past will help us break away from destructive behaviors that are holding us back. Let us surrender and release those now. This potent Aquarius energy, we have the chance to make progressive changes in our lives. For some of us, circumstances are such that we need to pay more attention to these matters. In this moment, there is an unusually large number of planets and bodies that are in Aquarius. At this time, besides the lights, there is Mercury, Venus, Jupiter, and Saturn in Aquarius. So this is a particularly hopeful, humanitarian, and progressive moment in time. It is encouraging much hopefulness, giving one another the benefit of the doubt, and living in generosity and friendship. And so on this new moon, brothers and sisters, let us come back into our bodies, our present here and now. Opening our eyes gently and joyfully. And open our discussion of love. Blessed be, so shall it be. Thank you, everyone. Wonderful. All right, so I would love to start the call with Dawn and Trish talking
And
about...
Astara, I know you want to start. I just want to thank you. That was beautiful and very grounding after a busy day to come. And so thank you for that. That was beautiful.
Pleasure. Pleasure, indeed. Yeah. So, feeling the desire to talk about self-love first, because it always begins within. We need to start and begin within before we can share love with others. And so here we are, Trish and Dawn from the Self-Love Show. Take it away, ladies. Let's say we've got about 10 minutes for this part for you.
All right.
Awesome.
Do you want to go first, Miss?
I'm open. It's up to you. Go for it.
All right. Well, I just want to speak to a little bit about what self-love is and what it isn't. And I think that there's this idea that self-love and self-care is like taking bubble baths and scrubbing your skin, which it is part of that, but it's also really, you know, the relationship to self is the foundation to the relationships of all of our relationships, right? How we relate to ourselves is how we will relate to everyone else especially if we're in deep, committed friendships or loverships or even family ships. It really doesn't matter which relationship it is. It really is going to be how you treat yourself. So time, or if you give yourself really deep compassion, and that's the way you're going to show up with and for them. And self-care is a deep form of self-love. And self-care for Dawn might look very different from me. I take naps during the day, and I do certain types of readings, and Dawn's might look different. But it is really about making for me, it's about making self-honoring choices and really living into the truth of what is alive for you, what alive for your highest, most beneficial purpose. It's alive in your chest and in your body and in your spirit. Just a little bit.
Gorgeous. Thank you for bringing that forward, Trish. And I too, again, thank you, Candace, for that meditation. It was so gorgeous. So just wanted to say that. Yeah, self-honoring choices. Gosh, that has been, I have this theory that's really beautiful that I learned through USM, and I've known this before USM, but just make 3-foot tosses in your life, right? Like, you don't want to have to try to hit the goal that's 50 yards out. But what's a 3-foot toss where you could just reach right out and, and put the ring on the cone, right? And that's just a metaphor for what's a self-honoring choice that I can do right here today to love myself, And I love this concept because I think a lot of people don't think in this way of like making a self-honoring choice. Well, maybe taking a break from the computer if you've been working all day and going downstairs and making some nourishing food and sitting without the computer and just holding your food in prayer and gratitude is making a self-honoring choice, right? It doesn't have to be this grandiose, like I've got to go get my nails done and my hair and all of that is wonderful. But really it's the inner language that's going on, right? It's how we relate to ourselves, like Trish said. And so this is like a spiritual psychology principle from, Ron and Mary, how we relate to ourselves, how we relate to the issue is the issue. So whatever is arising inside of you, if you have a trigger, and relationships trigger us, right? We come in and someone will say something and we'll feel that sharp pain inside and we'll be like, whoa, what is that? And I find to become like a spiritual scientist of yourself, right? To explore your inner language with curiosity, right? Because curiosity opens the door, like a childlike innocence towards yourself. And that really helps you let go of the blame, shame, judgment game that goes on, right? Because we can have that really harsh inner critic, and especially if you've been raised with anyone in your family dynamic that was maybe judgmental, right? We've all probably had a character type in our family history or family lineage that was, a bit critical, and we've learned to pick that behavior up. And we also have familial conditioning, which means things that have been passed down to us in our family systems that are like genetically passed on, like genetic belief structures. So making a self-honoring choice around exploring these things inside of yourself to give yourself permission to feel it all, to feel all the feelings, the sad ones, the happy ones, all of it, because in that expansion of curiosity gives you freedom to explore it and also to level up your understanding and your consciousness around the like soul lessons, that really all we take with us is the love and the lessons. The rest of it, we don't take anything with us when we go. So the soul is here to learn and grow. And so what am I learning from this opportunity? If everything in our life is an opportunity for our awakening, then what am I learning through this? Right? And that's such a beautiful way to look at your life through that lens, instead of a lens of, shaming yourself or doubting yourself or judging yourself or being, condescending to yourself, which is, the inner critic. And that's really the ego, right? And so it's really the loving essence that we are wants to live way beyond those bounds of out beyond right and wrong, is like the the field that Rumi speaks of. When you read Rumi speaks of this gorgeous field that's out beyond, and that's loving essence, right? Loving essence is in you and everyone, and we're all sharing it. That's it. We're having a relationship with ourself. So self-love is learning to communicate with yourself in a higher and better way so that you can remove the barriers that are in the way for true intimacy. It's not that we figure out that we're love. We are love. We always have been. We are it. And it's really about pursuing letting go of those boundaries or barriers that we've built inside in our mind and in our conditioning from our family perspectives, the things we've experienced, and the difficult curriculum that comes down the pipeline, like being married and all of a sudden the rug being ripped out from under you and you losing your home together that you worked really hard. That happened to my husband and I. And that was this kickstart of big time curriculum for me. It was like the universe was like, all right, this is where trust really kicks in. Like I said, trust was my curriculum because I learned to distrust men because I had a very difficult relationship with my father. And really it came down to, I was seeing it through the lens of I'm rejected by life. And that was so deeply hurtful because of the abuse. And I took it to mean that life rejected me. And ultimately how I broke free was to realize, whoa, I've been rejecting my own light all this time because of the fear. And so I learned to play small. I learned to hide. I learned to not talk. I learned to not show up. I learned to hide away because I was terrified. And that's where the disconnect and the barrier, people could feel that I wasn't fully authentically showing up because there was so much fear around being hurt, right? And I had to do a lot of inner reparenting to that part of myself. And that's deep self-love, like knowing that I had the answers within and that I could pursue following my light and my truth and my love no matter what the outer circumstances are, that I can come home to the full light and expression of my soul that I've come here to live in this lifetime. And that's what it's about. That's self-love. That's self-honoring.
I love that.
Yes, as we were saying before.
Yes. That's it.
So,
thank you.
As Dawn was sharing, is like self-love is repatterning the childhood thoughts and behaviors and wounding. It's the positive self-talk. It's the transforming your traumas and your belief systems. It's learning to self-source your foundational needs and wants. And a big part of self-love is cultivating healthy relationship skills. Like, I mean, let's face it, we're not just self-love isn't going to work in the whole world. It's about creating relationships. I mean, if I'm the only person on this planet, there's going to be no problems. Because I'm like, oh, there's no one to relate to and come up to our, as Dawn would call it, spiritual curriculum, which is the belief systems and the things that were passed down from our lineage and our ancestry. So for me, developing compassion, empathy, forgiveness, acceptance with yourself will expand your capacity to be empathetic and compassionate with others. This is the nature of connection. This is the nature of love. Developing connection to yourself is crucial to being able to deeply love and connect with someone else. Because if I'm feeling disconnected, who's feeling the disconnection? But yeah, it's me. It's not the other person. So again, I've been really exploring this place of what love looks like in this carnation. And in my 34 years on this planet, what love looks like is deep acceptance, radical acceptance of what is. So that's radical acceptance of who I am and all the things that make me me and all the things that make you you. There's 7.8 different billion realities on this planet. Can I love you there? And that's a game I like to play. I like to call my life like games. That's a game I like to play. Can I love you there? Can you love me in my, I'm on the floor, piss screaming, like melting down. I've got tears. Can I love me there? Yes. Can you love me there? Yes. You know what? When you're on the floor and when you're vibrant and alive and when you're sad and when you're screaming at the guy in the car, I can love you there too because I love myself there too. And that's truly what self-love is. Acceptance of what is, acceptance of you in the places that are not socially acceptable. Be wild, y'all. Be wild.
And it's also just one more thing I wanted to add. It's beyond like this relationship with ourself, right? And our inner language. The more you explore yourself and get better at sourcing yourself and working through what's going on for you and having aha moments, you get better at dialoguing with your beloveds around, how you communicate what's going on and how you lean into connecting with them in a vulnerable, connected way. You open the conversation in such a different way than like a very triggering way, which is common for people when they don't understand why they're not connecting. It's like, oh, I can really hold space in a different way now because I'm sourced. So I can show up full, ready to be present for a deeper conversation with you, and ability to arrive at a place where I can really give you love there and share the difficult things that I was afraid to share before in a way that's loving and they can hear it. Right? And that's it. That's where the magic happens and where the barriers get peeled away and they really hear you, and like a deeper bond becomes because you're mending a place that there was a disconnection.
That's what the self-love show is mainly about, is self-sourcing and giving yourself empathy. That's a lot of the things that Dawn and I have taught in our coaching groups and in this amazing program that we're developing, and this just so many amazing things is really based in self-sourcing your needs so that you show up to the person full and complete.
And living into your sovereignty. Fully embodying your holy sovereignty that you've come here to live into. That way you're in a relationship completely whole, full with yourself, and you're inviting others that are whole and complete with themselves to come be a part of the party. And it's just gorgeous and fully expressed, full soul expression.
F yes.
F yes.
F yes.
I think we need a whole I'm muted.
I love you, ladies. So good.
We need t-shirts, just the F yes t-shirts there.
Right? I know.
We need to make t-shirts. I love this. It's a great invitation. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. You just wait until next week then.
Yeah.
Watch, she takes action fast.
Yeah, I feel it.
Together.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
I love it. And I love that both of you women spoke about being self-sourced, because that's one of the things that when we have our coaching session with Gabby is she will start off with the check-in, heart, mind, body, spirit, like where are you? Scale of 1 to 10. And so you can find out who's under-resourced and who has more resource at that time. And the one that's under-resourced can get a little more support or a little more empathy or compassion from her partner or his partner, And so, I think that's a potent piece. And I'd love to circle back a little bit more about that. Let's see what Gabby and Raj have to say about love in partnership.
Well, if I could say that piece there, you're just talking about the being well-resourced and the check-in and all of that. And it is so important because it's kind of the source of a lot of our relationship hurdles is being under-resourced. Yeah. And then we're either lashing out or projecting our pain or trying to get our own needs met, but we're kind of coming about it at a sideways approach. So I love that the conversation is already starting from being well-resourced, because I often say that's the most important relationship tool you can have. And that means sleeping and eating and having alone time and having time together. My sister and her family, she has 2 little girls, and they have an expression, I'm the most vulnerable person in the family right now. No, fragile. I'm the most fragile
With their
person in the
little
family
Australian
right now.
accent,
Yeah,
fragile.
they're from Australia. Fragile. And so whether you're doing a body, mind, heart, spirit check-in with numbers, or someone in your family or friend circle is declaring, it builds trust to respond to those nuances. The challenge is when you have, both people are under resourced and you're like, I'm under resourced. Well, I'm under resourced. And then you're in an under resourced competition. So whenever we can come to that empathy that you're talking about for yourself and for others, to check in, whether it be numbers or not, but to support each other when we're not at our bests. And that might change moment by moment.
Yeah, I love, I'm just so honored to be involved in this conversation. I'm doing a lot of self-love work, but I hadn't even really been calling it that. So it's good to get present to that. I'm actually working with Gabby's dad as my coach. And we do some deep work on parts integration and things of that nature. But
yeah, and when he says my dad was, if you've all watched Wild Wild Country, the lawyer that was Osho's attorney. So, and that's his coach. So it's pretty intense that he takes on his father-in-law and Osho's, former attorney as his coach, because it's no cakewalk. My dad fires most clients I send him. He's like, they're not serious enough. Are you meditating or not? If you're not, get out of here. I don't need to talk to you.
The thing that I really took away, and also that I try to practice as much as I can, is, getting right here allows you to be right out there, and we so often deflect our upsets, triggers, whatever you want to call them, on the other person because they seem to be the source of it. But I love what you were saying about your spiritual curriculum. That's one of the things that I love about relationship, is it just triggers you.
It's the best.
And in that it gives you opportunity to heal, but you can't do that if you're not being responsible for your upsets. So I look forward to learning more about what y'all do with your self-love work.
And the truth, something you said, thank you for that, honey. Something you said earlier about games. Raj and I are all about games, and there's kind of two approaches we take to games. One is the game of creating a F yeah future. Like, what's the money like? What's the exercise like? What's the, sex like? What's the communication like? What's the relationship in the world? And from that inspiring vision, to periodically, we do it every 90 days, to look and say, okay, what's important for us to do and declare and focus, and the game we want to play. So right now, for example, our game is the season of passion. So we have 90 days where we're focusing on all sorts of games around passion, not just sex, but also just in life. So little one, I'll just share two. One, for example, is at lunch, when we have lunch together at least 3 days a week, we ask each other, what makes you happy? So it's just that question, what makes you happy? And then another game we're playing right now is we take a shower together in the morning. It's kind of like our last name is Sundra. We call it the Sundra Conference Center, and we start our day a little connected there. And so we play this game. Last quarter in the season of peace, it was, we'd make eye contact, we'd kiss, and then we'd say forever.
We'd also say, name that kiss.
Name that kiss. And then you get to pick the kiss. That makes it a little more fun. And it was so powerful to say the word forever. It just really brought our commitment that we're in this, at least this version of forever. And then this season, in the season of passion, we're doing the same game, but we're using a different word, now one word. And we'll do it both in the shower and when we kiss before we go to bed. And we'll say, hot.
It's got to have a W in it.
Hot. Yeah, it's got to have a W. But the point being is, whether it's having a vision or playing these little games moment by moment, whether it's about goals or, whether it's games that you play around sex, relationships, they say, oh, don't play games with me. Raj and I are not about that. We're all like, let's play a game. If we're in conflict, let's play a game. If we want to have sex more often than we're having it, or different sex, then let's play a game. Whatever we're doing, we want to bring the play and the declaration to it. I did want to share one game we're playing right now, the OCC, my latest favorite
Great.
tool.
I'll just say one quick thing about, again, that container of a game. it gives you, like you said, Don, the 3-foot ring toss of like, hey, what do we want next? And then aligning yourself and doing the spiritual um, curriculum to allow yourselves to have that. And then if you just keep doing that, you keep kind of peeling the layers away and transforming deeper and deeper levels. And then, you get to the point where triggers, you're like, I'm so triggered. And it's like, you get it. It's like you're triggered, not that that's triggering me. Yeah.
And then that dynamic pulls you apart. And then you get into talking about your complaints. And there's, blaming, shaming, and complaining, as Harville Hendricks and Helen Hunt talk about. And really, though, the negativity is just a costume for the desire that's underneath. So when you can go back to that empathy for yourself and others, if someone's cranky or lashing out or says something nasty, to actually, sometimes we'll play this game when someone says something really cranky, we'll say, do you need some loving? Right? It's like, okay, let's just say what's really going on, because it's a little alert, like you might be a little rough on me and I could meet you there and we could devolve and get into a victim contest here, but why don't I just give you some love instead? What's that great quote? People need your love the most when they deserve it the least. So, because it isn't about fair. Anybody's in relationship, a successful relationship, no, it's fair is a slippery slope to effed up, right? It's more about 100%, 0% that you're giving, and obviously not setting yourself up to live as a doormat, but certainly not in comparison, not, well, I'll apologize if they apologize, or I'll be vulnerable if they're vulnerable. It's an investment of trust and vulnerability, of sharing yourself and what you want. Right. We play this game. You mentioned Bibto earlier, Anastara, that both is better than one. And so we don't like to operate in compromise. We like to find where's the synergy. And it's really interesting what you come up with when he wants one thing and I want something else, and they seem like they're total opposites. But if we say, no, let's just assume they're not opposites. Let's assume there's a synergy here that's inviting us into the miracle of the genius of both of us. And from that container, from that game of let's see where the Bibto is, then we have that calls us forward into just a different way of relating, as opposed to the adversarial, well, that's your way or that's my way. Who's going to get their way? What's winning anyways, right? If we don't both win, if we're not all winning, we see that in society. And what's happening now, if we're not all winning, then how can we really be winning? Right.
And what were you going to say about OCC?
The OCC is my favorite tip. Okay, let's see if this works, honey.
Okay.
You down with OCC?
Yeah, you know me. Took me a while to get that line.
Yeah, so he's not as into pop culture, but if you remember Naughty by Nature and that OPP song, that'll help you remember this tool. And it's my favorite tool. You can apply it to any kind of relationship. It's really highly recommended to apply it when you are feeling like you're right. Because there's, as you probably heard before, you get to choose, are you going to be close to someone? Or are you going to be right with them? But you actually don't get to be both. So there is a lot of letting go of the ego in relationship, not being lower than, not being a doormat, but just checking your ego at the door. So the OCC stands for ownership, compassion, and creativity. So whenever you're in any conflict, first stop and just take some ownership. I can own that I haven't eaten in 8 hours and I'm kind of hangry. I don't even think it's about what we're talking about. Or I can own that I'm stressed about that contract. It's not signed yet, and it's a really big contract. And if that doesn't happen, I don't know how we're going to be able to pay payroll, whatever it is, right? But you're just acknowledging what's in the space. I can acknowledge that something we haven't talked about from 2 weeks ago is still in the space, and I'm not relating to this, I'm relating to that. So lots of ways to take ownership. The second one, do you want to jump in there? Should I go on?
Go.
Okay. I can talk a lot, so I like to check in a lot. They don't call me Gabby for nothing.
That was one of our deep work things.
Our deep works. Yeah, we had to work on that. You'd say, I can't get a word in edgewise. And I'd say, you're a world leader who can say anything you want at any time. and we've had to learn now and check in with each other, and we've grown. It's the synergy, not the bib toe, right? Not the compromise. Okay, so we had ownership. Compassion is second, and that's get in your beloved's world. Where can you express any compassion? I can see that you're stressed about this. I see that you have a need for this. Whatever that you see is going on with them, let them know that you see the struggle and their perspective, and that their perspective, even if you don't have the same perspective, it matters. So just first get in your world with some ownership, then get in their world with some compassion. And finally is the creativity. It's that I don't know what's right, but we could try this or we could try this. What do you think we should try? Let's play, let's explore and see what we can do. So whenever I'm feeling any contraction these days, even if I have to just do it slowly in my mind to shift my state, but it's even better if I can be courageous enough to get it out there, is I just say, okay, where can I take ownership? Where can I express compassion? And where can I bring creativity? And don't expect that just because you use a tool means like everybody's going to swoon. And that just worked perfectly, right? You don't hit every ball you swing at. So you want to just continue to find, well, that tool didn't work. Let's try this one. So I tried this recently. I had a conflict with my brother, and it's been 2 weeks in a row that I've sent him an OCC, and he's just not responding. I'm like, that's fine. This isn't a transaction. I'm just trying to continue to take my own advice and own that it's not okay for me for there to be separation and distance between us. So I'm not going to say that or make him wrong. I'm just going to keep every week reaching out and saying, I can own this. I have compassion for you. How can we move forward creatively? So that's the OCC. Thanks there, Trish. Anything you wanted to add on that, honey?
Well, let's see. Yeah, in any upset, there's always something to own.
If you're upset, own that, right? You're the one who's upset. It's not a given.
Yeah, I mean, it takes two to tango in an upset. And just by you reflecting and looking like, how did I contribute to that upset, and take ownership for that authentically, not just like the inauthentic, ownership to appease, but rather like do that spiritual looking and see like, what can I take ownership here for? I also think that that then gives you another access point to doing that inner work, right? And the compassionate side of things, if you're able to be compassionate with whatever is triggering you with your partner, it's really you're doing the work on yourself because they're triggering some wound that they just happen to be an expert at triggering.
But our core message is just about being intentional. We've had people many times before say, you're so intentional. And to that, I'll say, well, you do not want to see my willy-nilly, because my willy-nilly is a cranky, bossy bitch. Okay. Like that's my default. I'll get busy and I'll think I'm doing more than someone else. And why aren't they taking care of me, or whatever it is? Or why'd you do it like that? And so bringing the intention and the habit of who do we say we are, and maybe we can finish our piece with just sharing our mantra. Sure. Who do we say we are as a couple? What is the culture of our coupledom? And then keep that present and keep truing up to that.
Yeah,
so,
and just one other thing, just about the creative part of the OCC. Creativity, human creativeness is one of our, greatest gifts and capacities, and to get creative with your partner is like one of the coolest generative acts that you can do together. So
fun.
The more that you do the OCC, the more you're healing yourself, you're playing with your partner in the realm of creativity, and you're just forward focused on like, hey, how do we want it to be, rather than like being stuck in this like mess of trigger and upset.
So instead of saying we need to talk, I recommend that you say, want to play a game? You're going to get a much different approach. If someone says, want to play a game? Like, yeah, what's the game? Well, what if we had our communication be awesome and we never swore at each other again? What if we played that game? Right? As opposed to, why do you call me that name? We actually 3 years into our relationship decided there was no more name calling. We just wanted to build that pattern of safety between us. And it's hard to go into those intense conversations if things come out of the blue that, all of a sudden somebody says, F you. And you're like, oh, my beloved is, going past that line. Well, let's wrap up because I know we're about at our time here. I mentioned the games before and the mantra, the vision we have that we true up to, and we set goals every 90 days around it. This is kind of the core of what I do with couples. I love the wordsmithing and helping them find what one says they want and the other says they want, and how to bring them together in a way that lights them both up. And so, ready, honey? I love my marriage and my husband. We're playful, peaceful, and passionate. We're hot for each other and express it daily. We generate with intention. We communicate with care. We seek to spot, understand, and meet each other's needs and delights. We contribute to the world. We care for our bodies. We're on top of what is to be done and abundant with our finances, time, energy, and love. And that's what we're truing up to.
I love it. It's so good. Yeah, and part of the work that Andrew and I have done with Gabby is creating our mantra, and basically it was like 12 different areas of your life, from spirituality to prosperity to sexuality to personal development, things like this, and then really writing out what it is that you desire and that you want on an individual basis and as a couple. And then we siphon it down and then siphon it down and like filter it down. And you're supposed to have like 10. I think we ended up with 12.
It sounds good because then you can play with one a month. And yours on prosperity is so good. Raj and I swiped it, and it's not in our overall mantra, but it's in our money mantra. So in our weekly and monthly prosperity planning meetings, we're using your abundance vision.
Oh, I love it. Yes, because it is. It's so good. I wish that I could pull it up in this moment. I actually meant to ask Andrew if he was willing to jump on the call with me and just like read it, because it's such a potent moment to do that.
Well, you know, I can pull it up for you while you guys are talking and doing your other piece. I'll pull it up for you.
Yeah, thank you. So yeah, I wanted to just jump into a moment here. Give me 1 second. Okay. So one of the things that I wanted to share around love, especially here we are going into Valentine's Day, and it's not a holiday that we specifically say, oh, we have to celebrate, or we have to celebrate on that day. In fact, things usually end up being so expensive that weekend, whether it's restaurants or hotels, like things double and triple in price. And so we've gotten in the habit of just spending time alone together, or going on a trip together, or going to hot springs or something, you know, like the following weekend or the following weekend. But we do take time to be with each other. And this particular weekend, we'll be sharing it with our Eden World community. Our friends Sierra and Rano spearheaded this beautiful community of conscious couples. And I wanted to mention it because the work that they're doing in the world and what they're providing as a container, a safe container for couples to learn and grow together and be supported by one another. We're all going through the same thing, being in relationship with each other, has been like a potent container for Andrew and I, and our relationship and our growth and personal development as individuals and collectively, our whole family. And so I mention this because next Wednesday, Wisdom Wednesday, we're going to have Sierra with us and Avina as we explore and discuss the secrets of the Yoniverse. And so if you want to know more about the Yoniverse, join us on our Wisdom Wednesday next week. And
Star, if I could just add on that, I've been to one of Sierra's presentations on this, and it's absolutely just mind-blowing, heart-blowing.
Amazing.
And while I wasn't at the last session, I know you were, and all of the couples that had done that work, and that was the topic for the whole day. Every couple I talked to, I'm like, oh, that brought a lot up for us, but it's so powerful, and it brought a lot up for us in a really, really potent way of a unique, of a very new conversation to be getting that welcome. So thanks for having her on and spreading that word. Pretty powerful.
I'm very excited about it, simply because this kind of work is the healing that the wounded feminine needs at this moment in time. And the more that we can really spend time with ourselves on this really deep personal level, the more healing individually and the collective wounding can happen. And especially if we bring it to our younger women, our teenagers even, and really honoring themselves as women and their creative portal and what we have to offer as creative individuals. So thank you. I did want to just mention that. And I want to bring on the other ladies now so that we can all panel together. I see that they have a couple tools that they wanted to bring into the sphere. And yeah, let's just kind of open up the conversation together.
I love how you brought in the younger generation, and I belong to a community of people called One Love, healthy relationship skills in schools. So healthy, healthy relationship signs and what are unhealthy and how to move through and how to communicate. And I love that. And one of the things that I love to teach kids and adults is really the self-empathy tool. And some of you who participate in Love Coach Academy know this one. It's really simple. And for everyone who's watching, it's really taking yourself from your head to your heart, to your wants and needs, and really speaking from that place and also being able to resource there. So just a moment of 2 moments to just drop in. And the tool really looks like running a thought for no more than 15 seconds, really getting that painful spot, dropping into your chest. And how do you feel? Like, what is the feeling behind that? And then dropping deeper into your chest, into your stomach. And what is, if your feelings are pointers to your values and your wants and needs, what do you want? What is the deep desire, longing to be met there? And from that place, from that beautiful place of the want and the need and the value that you're holding, you can then move towards really acknowledging how you can self-source that, or how to speak to your persons to meet your need, right? So if I'm longing for connection and I'm telling myself a story about, oh, Dawn's too busy for me. But if I came to her and said, you're too busy for me, she'd probably be like, I don't know. Right? If I came to you and I was like, hey, Dawn, I'm really longing for connection. Is there a way or a time that works for us?
Mm-hmm.
For you? Then the way that that's connected is really living from a place of inspired loving. And that's why I'd love to pass it to my partner.
Can't hear you, babe.
Thank you for that, Trish. It's so beautiful. Like, the self-empathy tool is such a precious gem. We share it often on the Self-Love Show, and I have to say I'm super grateful for it, because that just teaches people, because it's just so important, self-empathy, how to resource what our needs are. And so it comes back to every conversation is always about a value desiring to be expressed, right? And it's not like, a lot of times what people get angry or frustrated in conversation, and then they want to like kind of project onto the other partner, and that creates discord in the relationship. And when you can source yourself and come into a place of deeper understanding of what you truly want in the conversation and inside of yourself, then you're able to show up full capacity and be able to deliver it with a calm, nature. And then the other person really hears you. So it's like, we all value deeper intimacy and connection. And that's true love. That's true self-expression. And, I feel like self-love is that, like, coming home to the heart of love inside of ourselves in our relationships, and it's really leaning in with that desire to, explore with the other person to help them understand what's underneath, what's coming up for them, and that's beautiful when you can do that for somebody and they don't understand and they can't get to it, and you can just hold in the loving expression. right? And there's two tools that come forward for me to share, which is basically, this is always the go-to. Anytime you're listening with someone, always remember that you're loving essence and that you're hearing and seeing loving essence in the other person. If you can tune in to listening and seeing the loving essence, right? How can I see the loving essence, regardless of what their ego, their personality, or whatever they're saying is going on? Whatever is going on, it's okay. You can meet it, but meet them in the place of their loving essence so that you can witness them in their full capacity of whatever's going on, and you can stay a loving battery, right? Like fully charged in the loving. And then how can you hear the loving essence, right? That's so powerful. When you just start to communicate with every pair of eyeballs that come your way, no matter who they are, every person with eyeballs is a part of God, right? And we're all equal. I like that, like every pair of eyeballs, like it's true, every person. So if you can really communicate and express from a place of like hearing the loving essence and seeing the loving essence, it helps you have deeper empathy, compassion, understanding. It's like peeling away the layers, that's the veil in between you, so that you're just showing up in compassion and understanding and like really leaning back into, and I love this, neutral observation. How can I be more of a neutral observer of what's going on in my world, in my life, with myself, with my own patterning, with everything that's going on, and with others, where you can just stay neutral and listen from a neutral place. And it's amazing the depth of the things that come through you, because you're fully allowing the inner counselor, the higher self, to speak through you. Mm-hmm. Because you're in that neutral place. You're not trying to make anything happen. Your mind is not chattering and going all abouts, and you're trying to pipe up and get your whatever met. You're just really in a neutral place and leaning in with curiosity and neutrality. And that just is so powerful in a heart-opened communication when you're with someone. And even with yourself, just how can I neutrally observe myself and what's going on for me? And it gets you out of your own way to explore the deeper things that are going on. And sometimes I just lay on the bed and give myself love and put my hand on my heart and say, when I'm really triggered with something, I'll lean into myself and say, how I relate to the issue is the issue. And I'll really think about, how am I relating to myself right now? What's causing this? What's coming forward? And bam, I'll get like a hit of a memory or something connected to some other time period. And it'll surface, and I'll immediately be able to apply forgiveness. I'll immediately go into applying forgiveness to what judgments I hold, because judgment is pattern super glue. Judgment is pattern super glue. That's what locks the patterns in, and it becomes like a crystallized structure to your ego, and then more and more and more patterns. And that's why you get in that looping thing that goes on where you can't get out of it and you feel stuck and you're like, what is going on? This is so stuck. That's because there's a lot of judgments there around yourself and someone else. And so when you're in judgment, then you know your ego is surfacing. So it's a good time to just really explore, wow, what am I holding a judgment against? Am I judging them? Am I judging myself? Most of the time it's about yourself, and it sometimes is imprinting and conditioning from way beyond. And sometimes it's things you decided way before pre-verbal, that you made I can say this, my parents fought about sex and money all the time when I was a child. Like, I never saw the sex because they did a good job of hiding that somewhat. And the money piece was big. They fought about it constantly. And I literally, as a young child, I realized, I decided I didn't want to have a relationship because I was afraid to fight about money. And what did I do in my marriage in the beginning? We fought about money because I was literally playing out the same paradigm. I was living out the same dynamic that my parents did. And then once I woke up to it and realized, whoa, this is not mine, I'm actually living out my parents' stuff. I was like, wow, I can free myself now. And where am I judging? Where did I judge my dad? Where did I judge my mom? Where did I judge myself? Like, where do I judge my husband? Right? And like, that's the journey I went on, to just deeply peel the onion and peel back the layers so that we can get into a place of clear communication. And now it's a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
We just lovingly have a conversation about it, and it's not fighting. And
Oh, so good.
that's just the growth, right? That's the acknowledgement of the commitment between my husband and I and our love, knowing that no matter what, we'll make it through anything, because we're so, so grateful to have this in our life. And we've made that loving commitment to each other.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Like Gabby and her beautiful husband, like that forever, right? I loved that. That's so sweet. Like, I'm going to totally play that game with my husband. I'm so excited to introduce it to him.
To play.
Yeah.
I actually just finished listening to the audiobook by Gay Hendricks. I love Katie and Gay Hendricks. We had them interviewed for 1111 Unify last year. And for those of you that don't know, they're relationship coaches, and I mean, they're just an amazing couple. And the book from Gay was called The Big Leap. And I listened to an audiobook on Audible. I literally just finished it today. And he talks a lot about the upper limit problem. And that when you have this positive surge of energy come into your life, like you just moved into a new house, or you just got a new job, or you got a promotion, or you got a raise, or numerous things, that somehow you self-sabotage it so that you won't feel that flow of positive energy come to you. And so he talks a lot about how most of couples fights are about money. But if you really look at what's underneath it, it's not about money at all.
It's not.
It could be about the dishwasher not being loaded properly, and it's not about the dishwasher. There is something else underneath it. And it's really, when you're in partnership, it's really about discovering what those things are underneath it. But having the compassion and the patience with each other to learn what those are. Because at first it's a reaction, right? It's like, whatever comes out, that's what comes out. But it's like, really just taking a moment to take a breath, or take some space, or whatever it is that you both desire and need in that moment, to like bring down that energy level and come back into your center grounded space where you can actually discuss it and not react to it. So my son, he's 5. We call him a professional button pusher. And he was, when he was a baby, he loved pushing buttons on everything, on the phone, on the computer, anywhere he could push a button, he would. And now he does it daily. And it's like, we'll try and be talking, we'll be on the phone, he'll just be like, Mom, Mom, Mom. It's like, as soon as you're on the phone, he needs your attention. And he's afraid that he's not going to get the attention. So he acts out and he does things that he normally wouldn't do, and it's like trigger after trigger after trigger. And so as parents, we're learning to not let those certain things bother us the way that they can. And one of the things that I've really just learned is just taking a step back, taking a deep breath, saying, okay, he needs something right now. He can't exactly voice what it is that he needs. I acknowledge him and say, I'll be with you in a moment, and it quiets him for a moment. But so couples who are raising children too, we have this extra person in our life that can trigger us in ways that we can lash out or act in a not so loving way. And so really, really learning how to take a step back, take a breath, and come from a place of love. I know Gabby has this wonderful tool. What is it again? The 4. Can you explain the 4 pillars of an apology?
Yes, either sometimes we call it the 4 pillars of forgiveness, and sometimes the 4 pillars of an awesome apology. And I had not heard of, what's the Hawaiian practice of the
Ho'oponopono.
Yes, and so we created this before I had heard of that, but it's in that vein. Mm-hmm. And Raj and I this was in one of the Season of Peace 90-day periods. And so we were creating games about how to create more peace. And we realized that we were stingy with our apologies. And that we would only apologize if we felt we had done something egregious, we weren't really generous with our apologies. And so we took on.
Or apologize to try to
placate or
diffuse the upset.
Yeah. So
not to really.
Right.
So we wanted to just up level our facility with apologizing. And so we took on it. It wasn't even that there was no blame or no fault, but let's just explore this. And so we came up with this game of the 4 pillars of an awesome apology, and playing to use it as much as possible, not wait till the time is right, but just get so good at it because we were doing it all the time over nothing. Like I'd go to close the door when he was just coming in behind me. Oh, okay, let me let me do this 4 pillars. For some people this might be extreme, but it was really powerful to practice this. So the first one is pretty basic and straightforward. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
That's one. Second one is, please forgive me.
Mm-hmm.
And third one, oh, did I miss one? What can I do?
I
know what I missed up. I effed up. I'm sorry.
That's wonderful.
I effed up. That's a hard one for some people. Now, to me, remember, it's not like blame or fault. If there's any conflict between you, we effed up.
Something happened.
Whoopsie daisy, not like blame, something wrong with us, but whoops, where did we go wrong? We went off track and we've ended up in this place. So I'm sorry. I effed up. Please forgive me. And then I love at the end, the what can I do? And we call this sometimes the what can I do caress. If you bring just that part and come up to your beloved, Raj knows my neck is just my weak, it's my kryptonite. I'll just melt. And so he'll come up and kind of just put his mouth near my ear and whisper and say, what can I do? Oh, I just melt. Like a foot massage would be really nice.
Right? 5 minutes of anything.
But I do encourage you just to look at where, again, the ego we've been talking about and the lack of compassion and the what's right or what's fair, how that can get in the way of intimacy, because intimacy is a courageous, generous act. It's not a transactional. If you're in relationship for transactional on, they do this, so I'll do this, but if they treat me like this, then I'm going to withhold that. That's just a recipe for disaster. If you're not leaning into generosity, it's not love, it's a transaction.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well put.
Yeah.
Well, I find that when Andrew and I are really going through it, that there's ways that we can diffuse it, but it tends to be very different for each of us. For instance, he loves to just leave. Like, he'll flee. He'll go to his man cave and spend some time alone. Whereas I tend to stay in the house and I'll find something to busy myself. And it takes me less time to diffuse the energy. And a friend put it a certain way once before, that a woman is like a teapot. Right? And it'll take time to like get her all riled up and boiled, but once she's there, it takes a while to cool down, right? And and it's like really deciphering that there is a difference between the masculine and the feminine and how we deal with discord. So I actually just finished reading the book, The Keys to the Kingdom. I went to Dawn's house earlier and literally put it on her front porch. I'm like, you have to read this. But it's from Alison Armstrong. She does Understanding Women as well for the men. And then the women get to read Keys to the Kingdom. And it's about understanding men. And really what it comes down to is that we were made like caveman times, that the men were the hunters. They're very linear, very one focus at a time, and the women were the gatherers, and we had to be what she called diffused attention. Like, we had to look at the field and we had to understand everything in it all at once. And so that's how we multitask. It's not because we need to multitask. It's that drive. It's the instinctual drive in us that's what we have to do to create this safe space where we can be safe in our life. And so much of our behaviors and our interactions with the male-bodied species, it has to do with our instincts and how we were literally created. And through the generations, things have changed to the point where women can care for themselves. Women can bring home the bacon and make the money and all the things. And so the dynamic between us and the language that we each speak is starting to shift. And so really, it's about learning your partner's language. There's a book, I forget who wrote it now, but the 5 love languages, right? My language is words of appreciation and quality time. And that means that I like giving and receiving words of appreciation, and I love spending quality time, like taking that little trip over the weekend or going and sitting in the hot tub for a few minutes together. That's important to me. And my husband is acts of service. He's all about like, how can I service you? Like, I don't want to be a servant, but I want to be in service to the goddess. I want to be in service and assist and help, and he's Mr. Fix-It. He loves fixing things.
And Astara, I'm so glad you brought up love languages. It's so helpful to understand, the core idea first is that we're different, differentiation, that how he processes and thinks about something and sees a scenario is going to be completely different than how I process and see it. For example, he's much far less now, but he's traditionally been far more of an introvert. He needs a lot more alone time. He wants to write music. And for me, I'm an extreme extrovert. I could have 20 people at my house all the time and be completely happy. And we had to find a way to embrace that with each other and understand our love languages. For me, if I, quality time, and I'm like, but you always want time with yourself. In fact, when we went to create our ideal vision, he brought his vision to me, and his vision said, once a month, you'll leave the house for 3 or 4 days so I can be home alone. And I was just devastated. And I said, you want me to leave for 4 days a month? And he said, no, I want to be alone with me at home for 4 days a month. Right. And it took me a few years to not just accept that, but to embrace it, and to then get excited about the song he writes when he's alone. And, all of these things that make him who he is, that I could not understand it whatsoever because that I was so different. But learning to embrace, as we mentioned, the bib toe, it takes what seems as an opposite and brings it together with that synergy. So understanding not just your love languages, but your personality type. It could be the Strengths Finder or your Myers-Briggs. The more you can know about the nuances of your, not to get locked into your typing, but of your personality types, can be really helpful to understand yourselves and each other, and the dynamic between the two of you.
Yeah.
I'd really love to just say that I'm reading, like on that note, I'm reading this fabulous book. I don't know if you've heard of The School of Life, but it's called The Cosmic Book, and it's written by a group of psychologists from around the globe. And I just recently passed, like, I loved the love languages, and I always felt like there was something a little bit like a tweak that needed to happen just for me personally. One of the questions was, how do you like to be loved? Ask your person, but also to respond to them in what did your parents do to signal love to you? And I thought that was a really powerful place to know where, like, how did your parents signal that to you?
Yeah.
Because then just because I want something and these are my love languages doesn't mean gifts don't necessarily, they're not my favorite, but my mom gave me gifts all the time. So there is a draw there. And I'm like, ooh, okay. Food is a big one for me. Like when someone cooks or makes food, and it never occurred to me until I read this book and I was like, oh my God, food is a big thing. Like it's huge. It's not something that that's not my first or top love language, right? Touch. And I'm totally with you on Astara. It's like touch and quality time. I would never think that acts of service would be even close to that. What did
Trish, what you said about your mom, that you might have that in there somewhere. You may be, what I thought I did is that I got a lot of presents from my dad who wasn't around. He'd be gone for 2 years at a time when I was a kid. And so when he'd come back, he'd have all these presents. And so presents are like, Lou, it's funny because over time I love to give presents, but I'm just not as into receiving presents because it always felt like, oh, my dad's just trying to buy me off. I haven't seen him in 2 years. So he brought me like 10 toys, right? And so just understanding these nuances of our stories and our love languages, there's a great exercise in the back of the Getting the Love You Want book from Harville Hendricks and Helen Hunt. And it has you identify your childhood wounds and then turn them around as a declaration of who you are. So like didn't get stood up for at an extreme moment with my sister once as a kid. And so Raj knows that's one of my wounds, is being stood up for. And so we made a declaration that when we see something that's off, we speak up.
Ah, I love that. Yeah.
Gorgeous.
Finding those wounds and turning it into those declarations, because I did have to kind of recalibrate with presence.
Right.
A little bit.
Well, you know, in Keys to the Kingdom, Alison Armstrong spoke of essentially that as women, that we need to learn how to receive, especially when men move into their king stage of development. It's all about their stages of development. When they get into king, all they want to do is experience their kingdom and serve their queen. And so when we learn how to receive, it puffs them up. They get really stoked that you received that gift. And I'm curious if your father was in the king stage of development when he was bringing you these gifts. You know, it's like, how does somebody feel when you give a gift and it's turned down? It kind of sucks, right? You're like, well, why don't you want my gift? You know? And so learning how to receive, learning how to be receptive is so important. And it's such a feminine trait, right?
Yeah, because it is difficult. It's sometimes so much easier for me anyways, to be of that nurturing. And I do find it harder to receive. Even my way of receiving is giving, because I realized in my rejecting gifts, I was denying them the experience that I love so much. And so it's like, do them a favor, Gabby, let them give to you.
Exactly.
Oh no, I won't take those beautiful earrings. No. No, I
Well, you know, I actually want to say with that, that Dawn, when I was at your house the other day and I introduced the Portal Priestess program to you, and you're like, oh yeah, I really would like to, and I was like, okay, if money wasn't an issue, would you do it? And you said yes. So I want you to know that I paid for your course. And you're going to go through the Portal Priestess program with me.
Oh my goddess. Are you kidding me? Oh my goddess.
That is so Anastara. You're such a generous, contributing soul.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to go through it with one of my best friends. And I feel like it would be so potent and powerful to add this to your offerings.
I'm so floored right now.
You told me about it.
I know, I did. I told Trish about it.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah, if you want to know what I'm talking about, watch the Secrets of the Universe next Wisdom Wednesday, and you'll know all about it.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm going to do it with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's do this.
F yeah!
I'm receiving.
F yeah!
Thank you.
Yes, of
Truly,
course.
like, oh my God, I'm so touched.
Yay.
And that's great to see those acts of generosity, because they are contagious, and we do pay it forward. And I do see that with you all the time, Anastara. So thanks for doing it here publicly as well, and not, just sending her a message, because we do act by example. And, maybe someone else who's on this call is going to be inspired to pick up somebody's meal, or, whatever it is. But generosity inspires generosity.
It really does. Thank you for acknowledging that, truly. And Anasara, I'm so floored by your generosity. I see it over and over and over again. And I just bow down to you. You're amazing, and just really adore you, and so thankful to be your sister and know you all these years, and to be growing in this way. And thank you. What a lovely gift. Like, truly, my heart is so open and so thankful.
Yay.
Yeah.
I'm so grateful to go on this journey with you. It's going to be powerful. Yeah. Awesome. Well, I'm curious. I'm looking at the time, and I want to be mindful and actually open the call up to the people who did arrive to the in-person part of the Zoom call. And so I want to wrap this part up. If you have any final thoughts, and then we'll do a round of how can we get a hold of you, tell us your websites, all of the things. And then we'll end our live segment and open it up to the people who are on the call. So any final thoughts, and how can we get a hold of you? Programs, websites, things like that. This is your time to plug it.
Okay, I'll jump in for better.love, not .com, for better.love. And right now we have a free masterclass that we're offering that's going to walk you through creating your vision. It's normally, a $3,900 program, but I realize that's out of reach for a lot of people. So I broke it into 4 different ways that you can pay nothing, you can pay a little bit and get a little bit of support. And so I kind of made it so you can access it. So if you want to create your own vision, whether it's on your own or supported, where I do the wordsmithing for you, or the whole full limo ride where I make a video for you and screensavers and all sorts of stuff to have your whole world surrounded with your vision. You can do that too. So check out for better.love. And what I'll leave you with is just be intentional. It's if your relationship happiness is going to be determined by your relationship habits. So your habits for how you get up and go to bed, for how you talk about money, for how you have sex, it's the habits. So just lean into your intention and of course, bring play to it.
Wonderful.
Well, one thing is just, get clear on what you want and then do the work to have it internally and externally. And that's sure access to healing and expanding what you're capable of and what you can contribute to others. So.
Oh, and if you want to email me, feel free, Gabby, Gaby at forbetter.love, and reach out. I love to talk love. So.
Yes. And Raj, thank you for being here and being the representation for the male counterpart today. We so appreciate you being here.
Very welcome. Thanks for having me.
Yay. Well, I've thoroughly enjoyed
Raj at Go Transformance. So
yes.
Transformance, as we mentioned, but if he can be of any support.
Yeah, I'm leading.
I just outed you, honey.
I'm doing this
good. I want it.
offsite program that's kind of cool. Just people can't get together, and also it's financially and energetically challenging to do in-person offsites. So I developed this virtual offsite program to next level your business. So
awesome.
If anyone is interested in that, you can email me at raj@gotransformance.com.
Love that. And it's RAJ, Raj.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, you too.
Thanks, Anastara.
Yay. Well, I've just been so blessed to be a part of this show this evening. It's been a joy to witness you two. You're an amazing couple. I love all your work and all your giftedness, and what you bring to the table is really yummy. So I'm so grateful to meet you. And thank you, Anastar, for always holding down this amazing vortex for just expansion and transformation. Truly, like, such a gift to be a part of this. And Trish, thank you, my love, for doing this with me. Yay. So you can reach us. We have the Self-Love Show, and we have a page on Facebook. So just Google the Self-Love Show. And we also have a Facebook group for women, which is called Reclaim Your Trust for Women. And so I'm not sure if everyone can see the links in the Zoom. I'm hoping they can.
They're in the chat.
In the chat, yeah. Perfect. So the links are all in the chat for the Facebook group, and I have a business called Spark Your Inner Gold, which is my website, and it's actually a Kajabi link. So it's sparkyourinnergold.com/mykajabi.com. And that is my website. And you go on there, and there's 3 different programs. So I have a 12-week program that we're about to launch. We're still preparing for it, but I'll go ahead and leak it a little bit. It's called Unleash Your Sovereign Queen. And so that's really incredible. That's coming. And so please come on over into the Facebook group, because there's going to be a lot of information in there. There's some freebies. There's a invocation I just created, and a Queen self-care PDF that's free that you can grab in the Facebook group. And there's going to be a lot of amazing lives coming soon from both of us about that program. And then I also have a 21 Days to Your Higher Self-Love workbook that's available now up for grabs. It's really affordable, and it's a 21-day higher self-love process that you can go through on your own. And I'm in the process of still building a online course around that too. It'll be launched a little bit later in the year. And so, but for now, you can grab the process and do it on your own. I channeled it all through graduate school. And so it's just a full heart-centered, experience that came through from spirit to you. So take the gift and go with it. It's an amazing process. It has affirmations and a daily practice and process for your cultivating your higher self for self-love for 21 days. And yeah. And then I'm going to pass it to Trish to see if she wants to promote her own website and anything for herself. Love you.
Well, yes, thank you, Dawn. Again, come watch us on the Self-Love Show on Thursday mornings. It's tips and tools and processes to help you really stay on track. I call it couples therapy because Dawn and I get to do couples therapy together. It's so sweet to have someone who's committed to their personal growth to do it with. But the people who can consistently show up just share amazing results just by watching in the show. And it's free. It's every Thursday. And we have powerful, amazing teachers on every week. I'd like to share that I'm teaching a class this weekend at 10 a.m. on Saturday called Profound Self-Acceptance, Repatterning the Abandonment Wound, and that I'm adding in right now.
Great.
Again, show up there's a couple groups that I'd like to just share out is definitely the Reclaiming Your Trust for Women, which is the group that Dawn and I share. And I'd also like to share out Secure, Sovereign, and Single, which is a group of singles that I'm so fond of because I love the singles. I loved supporting you and becoming more loving to yourself and really building connection with the people that you want. So developing communication skills and relationship skills. I have so much love for you. Come on over. I just want to hold you all and pet you and help you get where you want to be.
Wonderful.
Oh, and we're going to be on the Saturday night a live show this coming Saturday, so you can catch us Saturday evening. I think 6 p.m. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's with Scott Karamas and Deborah Guski. So.
Yes, yeah, and it's
Saturday night live for Global Peace Tribe.
Yep, globalpeacetribe.com.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you everyone for being here. I so appreciate and love you. Presenters, our panel on love. I am so grateful for you. Thank you for being here. And I would just like to take a moment to close out, and then we will open the call for those who are here on Zoom with us. So let's just take a deep breath. Come back into that heart space. Finding that ball of light in your heart once again. Feeling that light expand through your entire being, out beyond the borders of your skin, filling the room that you're in. Expanding even further, enveloping the building that you're in, the car, or wherever you are. Feeling that expansion even further to include your family, expanding it even further to include your community. And then sharing your light with the entire world. That heart love space that we can all find within. Begin within. Love, compassion, acceptance. It all starts with you. And the more we come from this place, the more others will experience it. And the more we create our world as we choose. May these tools and words of wisdom be held in your heart, filled with self-love, love in relationship, love in partnership, love with the beloved, eternal love for the divine matrix that connects us all. so shall it be. And bring that light back into your heart, into that singularity point within. Blessed be. Beautiful family, thank you for being here today. Have a beautiful evening, everyone.